While most UFO sightings involve blurry lights in the sky, what happened in Yuzhny Park wasn't just a sighting. It was an encounter, which involved a crowd of witnesses, a bizarre craft, and a creature that seems to have been pulled straight out of some fever dream. The Soviet Union in 1989 was going through the Glasnost era, which was introduced by Mikhail Gorbachev. Glasnost was a policy that promoted more openness within the sphere of public reporting about things seen that weren't reported before. This was brought on because at the time the Soviet Union was on the verge of collapse. You're dealing with a country that was extremely reserved at the time and transitioning to a period of openness and transparency within their media. The USSR for decades were very much restricted from having any form of news outlet let anything of this nature come out. You have to also keep in mind that media outlets were experimenting with how open they can actually be with what it is that they were getting. In short, because communism was in the transitioning of fading, the people needed something to fill in the vacuum of belief. There was an absolute flood of UFO sightings that were being reported during this time period, since for many years the people had to stay quiet about what they saw, if they saw anything. TASS was the official media news outlet that once held strict policies on what could be reported. Now, the floodgates were open and everything and just about almost anything could be said and was experimented with. It was early evening at around 6:30 p.m. A group of children were playing soccer in Yuzhny Park in Voronezh, a bustling city with close to 1 million inhabitants, 300 miles southeast of the famous city of Moscow. Yuzhny Park was one of those types of parks that was in the city center, so it made it easily accessible to the people in the surrounding area. There was a bus stop nearby that had close to 40 adults waiting for the bus, a credible lieutenant that happened to be walking by, and a few kids playing soccer within the park. These kids stopped dead in their tracks when they noticed a pinkish glow in the sky. That glow turned into a dark red sphere, roughly 30 feet in diameter, that began circling the area. Before landing, this red sphere hit a poplar tree, and that tree remained bent that way ever since and even to this day. The supposed spaceship was giving off an intense red glow, illuminating the entire park. It circled the park for a little while, disappeared, then reappeared all on its own. It was somewhat less than 40 feet off the ground when the hatch of the spaceship opened while still hovering in the air. A being was seen standing in the hatch's doorway with 3 eyes, one on its forehead that was red and swiveling, and 2 eyes that were more whitish than the one in the middle. It appeared to be scanning the area with its red eye. The landing appeared to have been intentional, as if it had come from an intelligence, not as if it was some emergency landing or because it ran out of fuel. 4 legs were extended and made deep indentations within the ground in the shape of a rhombus that experts later confirmed the weight of the object had to have been at least several tons. After the landing, a hatch opened and out stepped a being that defied every gray alien trope we know. So now witnesses described a creature nearly 9 feet tall. It had almost no neck, and its head, as noted earlier, featured 3 distinct eyes, 2 positioned normally and a 3rd, larger eye right in the center of its forehead. It wore a silver jumpsuit and bronze-colored boots with a disc-shaped object attached to the centerpiece of its chest. The middle eye seems to act as some sort of radar for its surrounding area. In some accounts, this being was accompanied by another, as well as 3 other smaller beings, and then a small robot-like creature that had buttons on the front of it, which the larger three-eyed being pressed to make it move in a robotic-like manner. In other accounts, there were 3 giants in total and just a small robot, with beings that can be seen slightly and partially on the inside of the craft on devices that were circular with no squared edges. Investigators pieced together that the symbol on the ship and on some of the beings were indeed the UMO symbol. However, that's according to investigators that were trying to piece the story together, not according to the Soviet kids, which would have no real connection or probable reference to said symbol. The symbol that was seen in Voronezh and the one that was seen in other lore could be 2 different symbols. The story takes a darker turn here. According to the witnesses, which eventually included dozens of local residents, one of the boys in the park started screaming in terror. One giant turned its middle eye toward him with one look, and the boy couldn't move, and it looked very unnatural to onlookers. In his personal account, he claimed he felt his legs were stuck to the ground like glue. All the onlookers, upon witnessing this, fled in absolute terror. The aliens, along with the craft, then suddenly disappeared. The children, still in absolute shock as to what was going on, bared witness to the beings actually reappearing 5 minutes later. One three-eyed being then had some sort of pointer device that seemed about 1 foot in diameter. He pointed it toward a 16-year-old boy in the same area, and the boy vanished, just the way the beings did 5 minutes prior. At the sight of this, chaos erupted. The giant and its robot retreated into the sphere, which took off into the clouds. Moments later, the boy reappeared exactly where he had been standing, seemingly unharmed but completely dazed. This wasn't just a tall tale told by kids. The Soviet news agency TASS actually reported on this. In an era of strict government censorship, the fact that the state-run media covered an alien abduction was almost as shocking as the event itself, despite it being more open due to Gorbachev's order. Researchers rushed to Yuzhny Park. They found physical evidence, indentations in the ground where the craft had allegedly landed, weighing several tons. They also reported higher than normal levels of a radioactive isotope called cesium-137 in the soil. Critics, of course, were skeptical. They pointed out that 1989 was a time of UFO mania in the USSR, as the public looked for escapism during political turmoil. Was it mass hysteria, a secret military experiment, or did something truly primordial step out of that red sphere? To this day, the witnesses, now adults, stand right by their story. They don't describe little green men. They describe the three-eyed giants of Voronezh. The Voronezh Incident remains one of the strangest chapters in Soviet history. It reminds us that sometimes the truth isn't just out there. It's standing 9 feet tall in a public park, watching us with 3 eyes. Now, instantly, I have a huge problem with this whole encounter altogether. Ready? This being seems to be strikingly similar from the alien in the movie Earth vs. the Flying Saucers, a Western film from 1956. Now, I understand that the Soviet Union was indeed a communist country and most likely wouldn't get their hands on a Western film. But there were films and other sources of media being smuggled into the country. So therefore, this whole story might just be not exactly real. Then again, the witnesses will definitely tell you otherwise. What do you think? Was this a genuine visitation or a product of a society under pressure? Let me know in the comments. I'm your host, Patrick, and this is The Field where the known meets the unknown.